Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Sorry for the short delay. We were having a few technical difficulties, which, why wouldn't we? But we're glad you're all here. Thank you for joining us. We're excited to have Naveen with us this morning. I wanted to let you know that we are recording this webinar, so it will be available after we've concluded today. Sorry about that. It will be available after we've concluded today. You can find it on our trustlocal.org website. That's where all of the webinars that we've had throughout the past couple of weeks are housed. So if you have any questions about something that Naveen talks about, you can go back to trustlocal.org to find this recording. I hope everybody's doing well. I know it's weird times, but I think this is going to be a really great topic to talk about. Naveen is super informative and has some great advice in this vein. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to him.
Oh, thanks, Jessica. I appreciate it. Yeah, again, my name is Naveen Bansal. I can give you a quick background, but what I lead is two organizations. One is Small Biz Cares, which is a nonprofit that engages businesses for community impact, and also Outreach Promotional Solutions, which is a marketing agency. And so, I kind of, the reason this topic, how businesses can do well by doing good, really resonates with me personally is because I kind of play both sides a little bit with my personal life, with, leading a small business myself, and, trying to make sure that our business is really relevant in the community. And also, working with, Small Biz Cares and helping make sure that, we're inspiring more and more businesses to get involved. And so, let me get this started here. All right. So what I wanted to walk through was a little bit about me. I always, joke about, whenever I like to present information and things, I like folks to get to know me a little bit better. And you'll see, hopefully you'll see, and you'll like me more after you get to know me a little bit better as well. And then what is Small Biz Cares? And so, a lot about the concepts about doing well and doing good, really, intermingle with what we do with Small Biz Cares. So I want to go over that. And then talk about why do good? Why is it important to do good? How do you make philanthropy happen in your business? And then, how do you integrate your business community impact efforts into your marketing strategy? And then some final thoughts. Let me do one thing actually real quick. Okay. I am actually going to orient my screen a little bit differently. I apologize. This is what happens, right? So, yeah. So about me a little bit. Personal background. My parents were born in India. They came here before I was born. My dad came to study. I was born. I actually have a twin brother who is, I would say, very different from me. But we're actually neighbors, which is kind of also a fun story. But twin brother. I also have twins myself. So I have twin girls that are going to be 5 in a couple of months. And so I think twins, run through my family, I guess, and we've got, a lot of twins going on. Also married, my wife works at Abbott, so she's in corporate. She also is our co-owner of our business, and so, we've got a good business background, and a lot of support there, for me in terms of, running the business and the nonprofit. I mentioned before, Outreach Promotional Solutions. I grew up in a print business, so my family started a print company, a small business, about a little over 30 years ago. And so that's really how I grew up, around small business, about, how to make your own way, all those different things. Print marketing is kind of in my blood, in my background. And so when we started Outreach, we expanded beyond print and got into other products and services around marketing. And finally, some fun facts about me. I actually played in the World Series of Poker main event, so I used to play a lot of poker back in the day. Didn't win it, obviously, otherwise I may be doing something different. But that's definitely a fun experience that I had going to Las Vegas, and playing in that event. I won a seat for $30 online. This was back when this used to be a big thing, now almost 15 years ago, actually. So it's a long time. And then I'm a huge football fan, Browns and Buckeyes. Hopefully we all get back to normal and the seasons will happen. Obviously want to make sure we're safe, but that's another thing about me. All right. So Small Biz Cares. Basically what we are, we're a 501c3 nonprofit. We launched about a year and a half ago. Again, the mission, if you see on the top right, the mission is to connect, mobilize, and inspire small business to make an impact in the community. And typically in normal days, we do that in 4 big ways. The first is we have volunteering events. It's kind of been our bread and butter, has been our community service days, where we bring together typically 60 folks or so or more for an afternoon of volunteering. We volunteer across maybe 6 to 7 nonprofits in the community for a few hours. And then we have typically like a happy hour afterwards where folks can kind of get together, have a good time, talk about what they did with volunteering. And so those have been really good for us. We've been able to kind of get folks to volunteer that hadn't volunteered in years. It's been such a positive experience. Our last event was in February before all this happened. And so, we're hoping, as we go forward, we'll resurrect some of those events, once things are kind of more settled and safe. Fundraising events are another thing we do. We typically raise funds for other nonprofits through our events. We had a tailgate for charity football themed event last year where we raised money for a nonprofit, She Has a Name, which is helps victims of human trafficking. And so we try to really have some fun events to engage the community to support other organizations. We also have our scholarship fund. All members, when they pay a contribution to join, their base contribution of $250 a year goes to support education for others. And so we try to design the organization in a way when members join us, they make an impact immediately. And so in 2019, our first year, we were able to raise $10,000 for scholarships, and we supported Columbus State as well as a couple other nonprofits with some education contributions to support individuals who have a financial need. And finally, we have member experiences and storytelling. We provide a lot of content on our website. We also have some fun events for members. Typically, those are funded by sponsors and partners. A couple folks, a couple organizations like Right Pack Credit Union and Insperity, and as well as Better Business Bureau have been great partners for us in the past year and a half as we've launched. We've been able to put on some fun events for members that are not just volunteering and fundraising, but just fun events to really thank our members and get them involved. And so that's what we're about. Again, we have a membership levels, 3 different levels of membership. And definitely, as folks see this, if they want to reach out, they can reach out to me directly and be happy to talk about how to get involved. Real quick on Small Biz Cares, last page on this, and then we'll get into the main topic. But we've kind of shifted a little bit in terms of what we're doing for impact right now because we can't do our events. A lot more content, providing information on resources for small businesses, sharing positive stories of small business. We've done some events such as Small Biz Cares Week, which was a collaboration with the Better Business Bureau, where we were able to hold about 12 different virtual events, engage folks to kind of share positive stories of impact. And, was kind of a week to really, show appreciation for small businesses during this time. We've also done some online collection drives, online fundraisers. Specifically, the online fundraisers, we've generated almost $10,000 to provide PPE, so masks, to local nonprofits and hospitals. And we've also done some virtual info sessions. So just like we're seeing here, we wanted to be able to provide some ways for folks to be able to share good content. A lot of our members have been featured in our virtual sessions to be able to share topics on how to grow your business, how to be more profitable, how to navigate during this time, all those different topics that make a lot of sense for business. And so that's kind of how we pivoted on the Small Biz Care side. All right, and Jessica, let me know if I'm going too fast.
No, I think you're doing great. And I just want to say that the Small Biz Cares Week was a really great experience. And I hope that the sessions are still available to see on your website because there were some really, really great topics, really, really great input from a lot of our community members. So I would also recommend checking those out as well. They're great.
Yeah, actually, that's a good call out because we have a post about the event and that has a link to the videos, and we're also actually in the process of putting up a recap post on Small Biz Cares Week, which will also have a link to the videos, and then we'll show that on social media. So you'll see that that link coming out in the next few days where you'll be able to easily see all the videos and content. And I know the Better Business Bureau put on a session about building trust, which is definitely important during this time. And so that's definitely a video to check out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Yep. So now we're going to get into the topic, how to do well and do good. And so real quick on why this topic, I already kind of mentioned it a little bit, is it kind of really mixes what I'm about personally in terms of business and the nonprofit side. But I also think it's a topic that relates well to almost every business. You know, if you're a business owner or you work in a company, you know, I think we all want to try to do well. We all want to grow our business, right? That's a big thing. We also, I think a lot of us want to do good, right? Most of us want to give back. We want to find ways we can do that. And so, you know, the concept of doing well and doing good and how to really make sure you're giving back, but also, you know, staying focused on, you know, the bottom line, the top line, making sure you can still do well as a business, you know, that's really the concept here. And I think it's amazing. You know, I don't shy away from sharing when we do good because I think, you know, that inspires other folks. You know, if we can share something that inspires other people, but I also think if we can do well at the same time, I think we're going to give more. You know, we're going to do more good. And so I think it's amazing. You know, I had this last comment on here. You know, what if we could achieve both? What if we could give back and also grow our business at the same time? Wow, that would be awesome, right? And I think, you know, a lot of us could shift, you know, this the picture here of shifting marketing dollars to philanthropic dollars. And so when we take a look at all of our marketing budgets as businesses, you know, we spend money on ads, we spend money online, you know, we spend money in different ways on print collateral and campaigns. And, you know, I have a marketing company, so I'm not saying to take away from that, right? You know, but what if we could shift it, right? What if we could say, you know, I'm going to take a portion of my dollars in marketing and I'm going to say, okay, I am now going to take those dollars and I'm going to support some community efforts, invest in philanthropy, and, you know, I still get that marketing benefit. You know, how awesome would that be, right? And so that's really kind of the reason why, you know, we're talking about this concept. So the first part about this is why do good, and I think a lot of this is somewhat obvious to folks, but I think it's also helpful to share and remind folks of why I think doing good makes a lot of sense, right? So we know there's a huge community need. You know, there's a ton of nonprofits all across the country, a lot of nonprofits locally. I think the number's over 15,000. I don't know, Jessica, if you have a better number than that, if you know if the number's right, but
That sounds about right. I'm
yeah.
sure there are a few that we don't even know about. So probably more than that would be my guess.
Yeah, that's why I put over. I want to be safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But over 15,000 nonprofits locally. You know, you have big ones, you have small ones, you have startup nonprofits, a lot of folks that want to be able to do good in society. But we know there's a shortage of funds and services. You know, even though there's all those nonprofits, there's still poverty, hunger, issues in education, you know, and resources for the community. All those things are still out there. And so, you know, I think if all of us can figure out our one way to do good, you know, and folks that maybe aren't doing good now can figure out their way to do good, you know, imagine how much more impact can be made, you know, overall. And so I think, you know, the idea that there's a shortage there is important. It's the right thing to do. And so obviously, you know, if you're in a position as a business and you've had some success, you're fortunate enough to be in a position to give back. I think it's kind of almost like our responsibility to figure out how to do that. You know, we have, you know, our teams, you know, that want to give back. We have, you know, talents, whether it's we can provide in-kind services, you know, we can help a nonprofit out with, you know, pro bono services, whatever that is. But I think, you know, you know, ideally, if you're in a position to give back, I think it's almost like our responsibility to do so. And finally, it's good business, and this is where we're going to get into the next page, but it's really good business. It's good for business to do this. You know, a few things: stronger brand, improved employee engagement, other opportunities to grow your revenue and partnerships. And so, you know, that's what we're going to kind of talk about on the next page. But you know, it's really good business as well to be able to do good. So I want to elaborate on those benefits, right? So, you know, the concept of a stronger brand. And so when you look at, you know, brands that do good, there's a lot of studies out there that show that, you know, people resonate with companies that do good. They want to support and buy from customers that do good. You know, the thought is always, you know, if there's two companies that have almost equal solutions and you know, an offering, that, you know, a person's going to pick the company that does good versus the company that doesn't. And so that's definitely something that's out there. You know, doing good, you know, if you're effective with it, can lead to, you know, obviously good PR, publicity, exposure of the brand. And so you want to connect yourselves. I always like to connect ourselves with great organizations because, if we can do that, it's going to uplift our brand and our profile. And so that's also something great. If we can support a nonprofit that we believe in their cause, and, we connect ourselves with them, that's a great thing. That's great. A lot of folks will look at our brand in a better way. And then, again, through doing good, depending on the opportunities, this is why you see nonprofits offering, sponsorship opportunities and ways to kind of, get that mutual benefit. Is there are ways to get exposure through, sponsoring events and getting involved in nonprofits. And so, those are always out there for the brand exposure. One thing that a lot of folks don't think about as much is this improved employee engagement concept. You think about acquiring new talent, and getting your folks really passionate and ingrained in the culture of the business. We know that, having a company that gives back, whether it's through team volunteering or just through efforts, could be collection drives you run at your office, whatever that might be, that employees appreciate that. When leaders take that initiative to do that, employees appreciate that. We also know that, when you interview people, employees, especially the younger population, which is very, very into giving back, that you're able to attract better talent, stand out as a company that gives back. Because I think a lot of people want to work for companies that have a purpose. It's not just about selling goods and services. Like, what's your purpose as a business? And so that's definitely important. And the connection with the company overall. I think retention stats show. I don't have the stats here, but retention, is an important thing for all businesses, right? It's costly to hire, it's costly to train. When someone leaves, it can become a challenge in replacing that person. And so, as much as you can connect folks with the company, the brand, just the community that's being built within a company, that is going to help in a number of ways around retention. Finding the revenue partnership opportunities. So, you look at, almost all nonprofits, they have supporters, which is great, right? Especially the bigger ones. But, those are companies that are connected with that nonprofit. As you connect yourselves with nonprofits, those are companies that now you were connected with as well. So let's say you're supporting a nonprofit that has other companies that maybe could buy from you or could be collaborative partners for you. That nonprofit, organization is a great way to have that warm introduction. To be able to say, hey, we support the same organizations, let's connect. That's a great way to do that. Build relationships that way. Go to different fundraising events and network. Those are great ways to build those relationships and partnerships. And that's that second point of network of influential, like-minded people. If you have that mentality where you want to give back and be involved in the community, there's a lot of folks out there that do the same thing. And those are people I know. For me personally, I love connecting with those kind of folks that are really in that realm of giving back and want to be able to support those things. And building your network is one thing that we all do, right? And then give back programs, definitely depending on the business you're in. I know, one of the first cause marketing efforts or ways that folks have promoted their solutions to give back, I think it was done by, I think it was American Express, I believe. But there was a give back portion. So they had some kind of product or service, and they did a give back of a portion of proceeds. And that's definitely a way that you can connect your business and your brand and your solutions and grow your revenue, and also give back a portion of proceeds to support that organization. So, you look at, all these different ways to be able to build your brand, improve your employee engagement, attract more revenue and partnership opportunities. These are all ways that I think you can do well and do good, and really get the benefit out of doing good. And I think, I mentioned before, it's the right thing to do. And so, ultimately, it's got to be something that fits your business, that causes to fit your business. And so, we always talk about, doing good is the number one thing. But again, how can you really stay focused on the business as well? All right, so I just mentioned before the cause, right? The cause that we care about. That's number one. So how do you make it happen in your business? We talk to a lot of folks. So Small Biz Cares, one of the values that we provide is that, we provide a platform to make, philanthropy and giving back easier. whether it's through setting up all these volunteering events and fundraising events, whether it's through our scholarship give back, and whether it's through other opportunities that you can connect with us to be able to support the community. That's definitely one way that can happen. But if you want to make it happen in your business, there's actually most small businesses, I think, that I've talked to, it's challenging. We all want to do something. We say, hey, let's get our team out to volunteer. And we may do it like one time, but how do you make it consistent? How do you make sure that it's happening on a regular basis and that it's really ingrained in the culture? And that's really the biggest challenge that I think a lot of small businesses have. And so the first step is really to identify the causes that your company cares about. So I recommend, surveying your team, finding out what folks care about, looking internally, obviously at yourself as well as if you're a business owner and saying, hey, is this something that, is there a cause that I really, really feel passionate about? And then identifying the nonprofits that really support that cause and doing your homework on that. Once you figure out those causes you care about and that you want to get involved with, you can find out what opportunities they have. And then you move to that second step, which is determining your objectives. And so obviously you want to make an impact in the community. So in what way? Do you want to donate your time? Do you want to donate dollars? Do you want to do some in-kind services? What are the different things that you want to be able to do to be able to give back? And then the other objectives we mentioned before: employee engagement, brand building, business growth, expanding your network. I recommend taking a look at those things and saying, okay, well, how can I strategically, get involved and also move the needle in these areas as well? And that leads to kind of building your strategy around philanthropy. And so, again, I mentioned volunteering, fundraising, all these different things that you can do around your strategy. But, when you take a look at identifying what you care about, what your goals are, what are the opportunities to give back within those nonprofits that you want to connect with, now you can really develop, okay, what are the things you want to do? And maybe build like a plan for yourself. Could be an annual plan and say, okay, we want to volunteer X number of times a year with our team. We want to attend these certain, fundraising or gala type events. We want to be able to maybe execute some online fundraisers or collection drives, whatever those things might be, and really kind of build out the things you want to be able to do. And now, a lot of business leaders will then say, okay, we're going to make this happen. And I got it. I'm on it. And then you realize, I'm wearing like 30 different hats at one time. And then this kind of falls by the wayside, unfortunately. And this has happened even, in my business. Before we started Small Biz Cares, it was one of those things where we used to be good at it. And then we, got bad at it for a couple of years. We weren't as consistent as we wanted it to be. We always had good intentions, but we were not as consistent. So I always recommend, if you have an employee on your team that really takes an interest in giving back, community impact, to really give that person an opportunity to take a leadership role in philanthropy and kind of, give that person that opportunity to carry out the strategy, identifying the organization, the nonprofits. With outreach, we have a person on our team that took a lead in that as well, because one of the challenges that I had was really just making sure things were happening on the philanthropy side. And this was before Small Biz Cares, obviously, but that was always a challenge. So once we identified somebody that really took an interest in it, it became a lot easier to make things happen. And then finally, leveraging existing organizations. Obviously, the Better Business Bureau, I'm calling out a couple here. Better Business Bureau, obviously, for resources, with all the nonprofit members that are involved, all the businesses that are involved, just the knowledge of the nonprofits that exist and that are accredited and all those different things. And obviously, the plug for Small Biz Cares, like I've already done a couple of times, right? But making it easy through Small Biz Cares, right? And so leveraging existing organizations, because again, when you do things on your own, and this is anything. I recommend partnerships as like a theme that I've used a lot in everything I'm doing. But when you can partner with folks or leverage existing things that are already out there to make things happen, it's so much easier and it can be so much more fulfilling when you do that. So I hope that makes sense about how to make it happen. I don't know, Jessica, do you have any comments on that?
No, I think that's great information, and you do a great job, I think, of being able to connect people. So I think that this information is really coming from someone who has made this model work, obviously. So thank you. I really appreciate you taking the time, and I don't know if anybody has any questions for Naveen. We don't have any yet, but you can feel free to type them in the questions box. But if nobody has any questions, I think that I just appreciate you taking the time. This was some excellent information. I would definitely recommend checking out, as I mentioned, the Small Biz Cares Week videos. There was some awesome information from a lot of really great community partners. Take a look at trustlocal.org if you have any questions, that maybe we haven't covered here. We have a lot of great information from our webinars on that. And if nobody has any questions for Naveen, then I'm just going to say thank you very much. And I think that's it for us.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Take care.
Thanks.
Stay safe, everyone.
All right. See ya.
Bye bye.